Your mindset on ads must be ruthless, detached, not taking the data personal, and really tracking the analytics to know how the ad is performing. It's also important that you understand what the industry average is. That's why hiring a coach that has this funnel running, is getting positive returns for themselves and their clients, is so monumentally important when setting this funnel up. If you think of it like baking a cake, you want to have all of the right ingredients. And so when chefs are in the kitchen cooking up their food, baking up their cakes, they're testing different ratios. They're testing different formulas to see which one tastes the best, which one people like the most. So you've been told that setting up the ad is the easiest part of the funnel, and yet you went to go set it up, you posted it, and it actually isn't working. You're not getting the positive ROAS that you initially thought was going to happen. And there are certain reasons why. There are certain mistakes that I see coaches, agency owners make so often that stops them, that prevents them from getting the results that they should have with their ad spend. So I want to make sure that you get a positive ROAS and make your money work for you the first time. When I started running ads in my agency, I was spending other people's money and I learned a lot. But as soon as I started running my own ads, that is when I really started to learn. That is when I really started to test, get crazy granular, and try to create creatives that I thought would resonate with my audience. And through that process, I learned a lot about how creatives work, which is the part of your ad that people will see. And I learned a lot about copywriting through that process because I was testing a lot of different things. And I noticed there were many little intricacies to ads that made one perform better than the other. And so I stopped taking results personally and I just started being ruthless and then just letting the data guide me. And from that data, I found out some pretty crazy stuff that I want to share with you. So imagine this, right? You create a beautiful ad, the audio, the mic, the quality is amazing, but it's not performing. And instead of holding on to it, you just decide to test a different version and you see how that one converts, and maybe it's less quality. It's not as perfect, but it performs better. A coach that I was helping to scale was creating ads before we had worked together, and she was boosting them, she was getting leads in, but from properly identifying how many calls she actually got, how much cash she actually collected, we noticed that a lot of the leads weren't that qualified. And what we did is we really just changed some of the copy, qualified way harder in the ad. And she started noticing that she got less calls. She was spending more to get a lead in, but guess what? Her ROAS went up because of the qualification. And the ad wasn't actually like the best quality ad, but it got a better return on ad spend than the initial one that she had running. And your mindset on ads must be ruthless, detached, not taking the data personal, and really tracking the analytics to know how the ad is performing. It's also important that you understand what the industry average is. That's why hiring a coach that has this funnel running, is getting positive returns for themselves and their clients, is so monumentally important when setting this funnel up. Now, don't get me wrong, I have clients who have had the same exact ad running for over a year and it's still working, it's still getting a positive return on ad spend. But I do believe that testing ads is important because just like your business, if you think of it like baking a cake, you want to have all of the right ingredients. And so when chefs are in the kitchen cooking up their food, baking up their cakes, they're testing different ratios. They're testing different formulas to see which one tastes the best, which one people like the most. And so we do have to remember that, yes, even if an ad pops off and it's doing amazing, that's great, and keep that one running. But is there ways we can improve if you have the time and energy to allocate to top of funnel and getting leads in? So something that is kind of fun to test is doing an ad that's unscripted where you're just going and then doing an ad that is scripted and seeing the results. I've found that ads that are more authentic, like you're not it doesn't sound like you're a robot, it doesn't sound like you're just reading off of a script, but you have your personality infused. You are convicted in the words that you are saying. You are looking directly in the eyes of your consumer and you are letting them know that you understand where they are and you know exactly how to take them from where they're at to where they want to go with complete 100% confidence and conviction. Those ads tend to perform better than the ones where someone's just monotone, their tonality is just like straight. I don't know why I just dropped my voice, but and they're reading off of a script. And that might take practice, that might take skill, knowing how to fluctuate between tonalities, but those ads I've found to have a higher ROAS overall. If you want to be able to split test these things, I would just start with like a small budget of $10 to $20 a day and then look at the results after a period of time, like 14 days, to really assess the results and then make decisions based off the data. That is so important. Making decisions based off the data. My first mentors, they really drilled that down because every single step along the funnel, from how many views were on the opt-in to how many views were on the VSL to how many views were on the call booking, we saw where people would literally leave the page, and based off of that data, we then knew. But if we didn't have data, we couldn't make any decisions. And so often I see entrepreneurs just guessing that they know what the problem is and not truly identifying what the real problem is or where they could put their time or where the ad could be improved. And how we do that is through data. And it can be hard with this funnel, with the follower ad funnel, to really know, okay, what can be improved. But I would say if you want to test to keep the same body of the copy, but test like different hooks, and then you can see which one is performing best. With ads, you need proper systems. Imagine going on a coffee date with someone and they get down on one knee after just the first date and they ask to marry you. That's what it is like when you just ask someone to buy into your high ticket offer and they have not been nurtured first. And so, what systems allow us to do is to really warm up, to nurture that lead, and to build that trust factor with them. We had a client who came to us and she was getting so many leads, but she was like, I don't know how to convert them. I'm making these CTAs, I'm running these ads, but I don't know what's happening. And so, when we did a full analysis on her current strategy, we found that the main reason that these leads were not converting when showing up to the call was because she didn't have any systems in place to make sure that they A, consumed her content, B, knew what her offer was before even hopping on that call, and C, were the good fits, like were the ideal clients that she wanted to hop on calls with. And so, properly identifying that, putting in those systems in place, she was able to build great momentum and actually get cash collected in her business instead of just hoping and praying that when someone books in a call, they will buy. So when someone comes to us with that exact problem, the steps that we take are, one, we want to create a VSL. And so I go over the key elements of a VSL to make sure it properly converts inside of our paid program. And then the step number two is we can set up sequences like with ManyChat or with qualification forms to make sure that before someone hops on a call, they're properly qualified. They answer a series of questions so that you know going into that call if it's going to be worth your time, if they have the financial resources to invest. And then if you are getting a ton of leads in, retargeting ads are a great next step to properly to make sure that the leads you are in contact with are financially qualified. So you actually go into demographics on Facebook and choose top 5% of zip codes and top 10%, and I found that choosing those demographics can really help to continue to further qualify leads. The flywheel effect will come when you have a dialed middle of funnel. If we think of the flywheel effect like a really heavy car, like one of those Tesla trucks that I've been seeing around here, and at first, you're pushing it up a hill and it's really hard to push. It's hard to set up. It's hard to do to really build that proper foundation. But once it is going downhill, baby, that thing is flying. So first, you do have to build momentum. You do have to take those steps to dial in the middle of funnel. But then once it is going, it's like full accelerator speed. It cannot be stopped. Once you're able to crack really specific messaging, have proper systems in place, getting your ideal clients to take action on working with you becomes easy. One of our clients was sending out emails pretty frequently to her list. Once she came in, we helped her to script out an email to make her leads actually take action on watching her VSL. And the next day, someone booked into her calendar after being in her email list for a whole year. She found this out by asking them, and that lead converted, but she had been nurtured for a whole year. And sometimes you do have to go through that painstaking process of nurturing someone and being willing to be patient and being willing to send out those emails for that long. The saddest thing to me is when I see brilliant coaches who are so amazing at what they do, but they just don't know the mechanics of how to properly sell someone and how to properly onboard someone, and then they lose out because they weren't able to bring someone in on that sales call. One client actually told us that she hated selling. She felt she was being pushy on calls. She felt like she was having to convince people. Once she set all of these steps in place that I just laid out for you, and she started getting trained by our coach Gerald on her coaching calls, on her sales calls, she actually got her mindset reframed to realize that sales is service, that sales is helping someone make that decision that will better them. And it's not like she was going into the sales calls thinking, oh, I'm going to close this person, but she had a different mindset, a new approach, a new way of doing sales that completely shifted her mindset to where she was feeling much more confident in sales calls and was closing clients. All right, I have to go. So those are the main secrets to running ads on Instagram. And if you are wondering about what the next steps are, how to actually take action, what I want you to do is go join the free school community. Link is below, and join the coaching calls. We will help you out with your sales. Go through the mini course. We will help you set up your ad, get leads coming to you, and actually get a positive return on ad spend. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.